The P-38 Lightning, and they're famous because a bunch of smart people figured out a top secret code message about where General Yamamoto was heading, and they managed to intercept and shoot down the plane that was carrying him. And this is one of the planes, the type of plane that did it. This is a Mitsubishi Zero, which was a faster and tighter turning plane than anything the Americans had at the start, and their pilots were better trained. But we'd take two planes and we'd have one guy agree to get in this guy's sights, and while he was targeting his buddy, he would come behind this guy and shoot him down. The only reason we won is because we had better teamwork. Swedish gun called the Bofors, and what's fascinating about them is at the start of the war, the entire nation of England only had about 38 throughout the entire country, and to give you some perspective, the USS Saratoga had about 118 of them on them when she entered the Pacific. So picture 118 of these bad boys all over a few hundred yards of ship. Kids hate being cooped up in a desk. Imagine being trapped in something like that for a couple hours, unable to get out, people shooting at you or looking around, you can't see behind you, just gotta trust everyone. You have to trust the engineer to fix the engine. Integrity, there's the Air Force Academy. There's a little B-52 sitting there on the side of the road. Yeah, that's probably the best college bang for your buck if you can actually get in. The Rabbits has quote marks around it. Are they real rabbits? See, what you got here is an example of truck psychology. This guy has to pass because he moved into the passing lane, but the wind picked up, and so he's not able to do it. And I'm not going to go above the speed limit, but at the same time, you know, I'm not yielding. He tried to pass. He's not going to move back over. Area College in the middle of Shreveport. Sorry, there you go. Horizontal. It's humid and hot, and it's the summer. They got a little garden and an amphitheater. We were parked like 5 seconds ago. It's a pretty good mountain, but you're hilarious. So this is Dinosaur Ridge outside of Denver, Colorado, which is way out that way. And this is a branch in the stone, and that's because or an imprint of a branch, because back in the day branches were really heavy, and so when they fell and landed into the wood, they'd strike with enough force to imprint the rock and leave a branch impression on it, you know. And that's where we get the term branching out, when you do something solid enough to make an imprint on rock. And then also you can see here, there's little things, marks from, there's a lot of leaves and stuff, because back in the Cretaceous period, all the leaves were made of stone. And that's why it's called the Stone Age. Anyway, you notice it's at an angle, and that's because back in the day, gravity went diagonal, not up and down. That was enacted by Congress in '86. It's before your time. The bridge, a bunch of emergency vehicles have showed up, and you can just watch now as the traffic builds up. The ambulance just cut right across the highway, and way off in the distance there's another emergency vehicle. And again, you know, really thins things out. It's backed up about a quarter mile, and they're blocking off more lanes of traffic. I think they're down to one lane getting through. 2 lanes. Yeah, a lot of congestion there. Now here's fire truck number 3, which is the most fascinating thing ever. Okay, that's enough rubbernecking for now. Okay. Isn't that fun though? If I backed up, I can't tell if it's backed up further or not. That's alright. Complete stop. Now let's see what happens. Yeah. Well, that's a wee bit of a backup. I mean, it looks like the output, the throughput has stayed the same. And the backup staying kind of the same. I can't tell. I'm just not an engineer, so I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna get home with a toothpick and count these. Definitely more backup. Science. See here is that angular coming out there, and then rocky rocks right there. Got your view of them. It's that concerty place, and they're all at an angle, and that's because you know, California is slowly sinking into the ocean because it broke off, and so it's kind of like a seesaw. So the entire United States is tilting, and so in about probably 8 years, California's going to sink, and it's going to make Florida dip underwater. So that's something to be aware of for you beachfront property lovers out there. A trail, and you see one of these cairns are used to mark a trail. Do not make your own. They are put there by a mixture of not chupacabras and aliens. Not them. This is a reality show called Will They Bump? Will they bump? Will they bump? I ain't gonna bump. No bump. Maybe this guy, nope. Yeah, daily run's got a bit more contour than usual today. Whew. Frozen walleye in the back there. There you go. Classic industry at work. Driving recovery efforts of natural resources out of the ground to the benefit of modern technology in Billings. At the rocks. I was contemplating life. Heck of a view. 24 miles outside of Casper, Wyoming. Making pretty good time there. Hoping to make it to Denver tonight, but you know, you just can't tell with the traffic these days, and that highway patrol out in force because it's the end of the month there. Really are pulling people over like a real storm. Oh yeah. Here comes the guy right up here on the right. I guess he got a little too heavy on his foot, got a little too high gear, and before you know it, the old Smokey's got him on the side of the road, giving him a little souvenir, if you know what I'm saying. Yup. I've been telling these kids for years, you go driving like a maniac, and before you know it, someone's gonna pull you over, you know? And I know it sounds bad, but if you ain't careful, you'll end up in a creek somewhere, off the edge of a bridge. It's just terrible. It's no good at all. There he goes in the middle, looking for more victims. Yeah, we see you, buddy. We see you real good. There's the exit down South 25 to Casper. Well, that's pretty good. I may stop for lunch sometime soon and make me a sandwich.